What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is me, Craig Black, special guest host of the Man Cave. Yep, I'm in for my man Stanton, and we're coming to you live on the platform Sports Talk Network. I always mess that up. I don't know why I do that, but yes, you got me, Craig Black. Hold it down for my man Stanton. I'm up in here. You can catch us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You can catch us everywhere. Make sure you follow us, okay, on the platform Sports Talk Network. Follow us, okay? Follow us. Our show will be uploaded on all Roku devices immediately after the show. You can also listen to us on Hot 365 Radio on their mobile app. Download the app. That's hot365radio.com. Download the app. You can listen to us live there. Now, that stream ends at 9 o'clock, but we're still going live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. All right? So welcome to the Man Cave. Once again, I'm Craig Black. And let me shout out my ladies. Each and every first Monday of the month, they got a special announcement. The Ladies Night crew has a special announcement coming next Wednesday. Okay. All right. It's every first Wednesday of the month, and they got a special announcement coming next Wednesday. Something real big. They're doing their first show in person. Yes, their first in-person show going down with Ladies Night. So shout out to the ladies doing their thing. All right. All right. So with that being said, we're in the Man Cave. Let's bring some of the men to the cave. First off, let's bring my man Sadal up in here.
What up? What up? What up?
What's up, Sadal? What's going on, partner?
Doing well, doing well.
All right. So let's also bring my man T-Bone up in here. What's up, T-Bone?
Oh, what's up, fellas? What's going on? What I would say what's the word, but you know, I'd be cutting into what's coming up soon.
Yeah, let me tell the people why I'm your special guest host, because Stanton decided to go on vacation. He decided he needed some, vacation time and hang out and have a good time while I'm in here working, but it's all good.
You know what? I can't say nothing. As I said last week, I used up all my platform sports talk show PTO over the past few weeks. So, who am I to talk?
Yeah, and I'm grabbing all this overtime right now. That's what I'm doing. It's all good. It's all good. So I guess what's happening? What's going on, fellas? They said the first part of the show was what's up. So Sadal, we'll start with you. What's up? What's going on?
You know what? Something that I've peeped over the past few days is and I'm gonna be unbiased here. I'm gonna talk just about the situation. Kyler Murray and his contract. Now, as a lot of you know, he signed a massive deal with the Cardinals to re-sign with them to be their quarterback. But there's a funny clause in the contract. So apparently there's a clause in the contract that says he has to have an independent study for at least 4 hours a week.
Independent study?
Yes. Meaning the playbook and all of that. Now, he's the Cardinals franchise quarterback. Your franchise quarterback, or any star player for that matter, or any player that's out there for greatness who wants to do more and do better, is going to automatically, they're going to put in that extra work. Why do you need a clause in the contract to guarantee you to have for independent study? It is unprecedented in the NFL. A lot of experts looked at this and they said, hey, this is very unusual. And here's my thing. One, how are you going to enforce this? You're gonna put a secret cameras up in his house to see if is he studying? Is he playing a video game? What is he?
So
how are you going to enforce it?
Let me understand. So he didn't put this in the contract. The team did, or did he put in the contract?
I don't know who was responsible. I think the team put it in the contract, but his agent should have caught that. I don't know if the agents caught it, if Kyler Murray wanted it in the contract, or he didn't know.
Go ahead, T-Bone.
I was just gonna say, if I'm the team, just because something's been, just because something is an expectation, if you don't write it down, can't nobody say, well, we told you to do this. The Cardinals may have had some situations in the past where You know, they felt like the people who they were putting their faith behind in the team weren't doing what they were supposed to. So that maybe it's in their best interest to go ahead and put a clause in there like that. It's not a terrible idea just because it hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
Now, okay, well, now to the Arizona Cardinals' credit, there has been some questionable things that Kyler Murray has said in the past, alluding to, hey, I don't go out and study after the game. You know, I kind of chill, decompress, in so many words. You know, he's not trying to go through hours and hours of film study. So he's already expressed that in public interviews and things of that nature.
So it makes sense now.
Yeah. But my thing is, here's my thing, just to dig a little deeper. Maybe it's just me in my brain, making things out to be something that there's not. There's always this stigma about the black quarterback. They're not smart enough. They can't pick up the game. And to have a clause in the contract that says, hey, you got to do some extra studying.
Yeah, that's
now I guarantee you, if this clause ain't in Aaron Rodgers' contract, you ain't gonna find it in his contract.
But you know what? I'm gonna say this. That does what you just said. It did strike a chord. I didn't see it from that perspective. That's a great perspective. But I look at it like, well, since he said it, since he mentioned that, this is what I don't do. They're protecting their product. I mean, at the end of the day, why not make him study? I mean, if you want to help, if you want your franchise quarterback, if I just gave you 200, how much you get? 230.
I think it's 168 guaranteed. I know that.
But 168. Okay, 168 million guaranteed. If I gave you that amount of money, I say, yeah, you got to study. You got to take at least an hour a day during this whole training camp to study my damn playbook. So you know it back and front and back. If I gave you that much money, I don't think that's too out of the realm. You're just going to just trust somebody just to do their homework. He's still think about it. He's still a young dude. So how old is Kyler Murray? 20 what? 23, 24 years old? Come on now. The focus is, if I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
You can clip this. If I gave you 168 million, I want to know what type of fabric softener you're using on your initials. You know what I'm saying? I need to know something. But hey, first, before we go any further, let's say hi to Miss Williams. She's already shouted us out, and it looks like she said, has he had any issues with not following the playbook or knowing all the plays? But we've kind of already alluded to.
He has had outsider looking in. Mm-hmm. He has had situations in games where he looked lethargic out there and didn't really know what was going on, throwing the ball to different spots that players wasn't around.
But you know what?
Can you chalk it up for being a young quarterback? Or can you chalk it up for not studying the playbook?
Well,
I don't know.
Our super producer, my man Smoooth, just said the team actually put that in the contract.
Right.
So, yeah. Once he made that statement, what he's not doing, why not? You gave him all that money, so make him do it. I'm sorry, Sadal. I'll go back to your point you was making. I just wanted to get that out there. The team did actually put that in the contract.
I see y'all points, but I shouldn't. If I'm paying somebody 168 million guaranteed, I shouldn't have to put a clause in the contract that says if that was the case, the team shouldn't have paid them that much money.
Well, two things though, because I said this. Well, I guess three things. Now I said this, in our chat before, but like, if there's nobody else better available, maybe that is the best option. If they're not seeing prospects, coming up, and there's nobody else of his age range available. One thing I was about to say is, when was the last time that the Arizona Cardinals really had a young quarterback that they were, grooming to be the face of their franchise? They really haven't. Most of the quarterbacks that they've had when they've had success have been older quarterbacks who have already been in the game, and they've been there. Like when Kurt Warner was on the team, Kurt Warner obviously had that experience before that. The last quarterback that they had that was Carson Palmer. He had experience with the Bengals for a long period of time. Like they really haven't I think the last person that they tried was Jake Plummer, as far as like
before all of them.
Yeah. So
yeah. Hey, right now, fellas, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna bring another panelist to the show. My man Brian Turner is here, ready to come in. What's up, Brian? Come on up in here, man.
Fellas, what's going on?
Coach BT, what's going on, sir?
Oh man, great to be back, man. Back on the show. Just blessed. I know a lot of families are kind of going through a lot of the craziness with these last couple of days, man. But I'm glad that you all can be here, and we're praying for all those families that's going through all of the craziness with the weather. So, but yeah, I'm happy to be back on the show, fellas. How y'all doing?
I'm glad you brought that up. We didn't touch on that yet. We're still doing what's the word, fellas? And Sadal just brung up a point in Kyler Murray's contract where he has to do an hour of study time. It's in his contract of that playbook. Is that an hour a week or hour a day?
4 hours of independent study a week.
4 hours of independent study a week.
Outside of practices, outside of like regular practices. Yeah.
So we were touching on that point. So real quick, how you feel about that?
Man, I mean, I think with it's football, right? So with any type of incentives that these guys, these owners of these franchises can kind of keep these guys on their toes when it just comes to a commitment, because you start to see that once these guys get that bag, they may have maybe 1 or 2 years in them before we start seeing the craziness. So I look to see a lot of more incentive-based contracts with a lot of the picks and a lot of these different organizations when they pick up a lot of these players. So just to keep them honest, in my opinion.
That's real. Okay.
The last thing I'll say about this, though. All of this is fine and dandy, but how the heck are you going to enforce it?
Well, I'm sure they got, the NFL, they got enough coaches. They got enough interns and coaches to make sure that he shows up to a set time to study for at least 4 hours a week. I'm sure they got a schedule for him.
I hate to be the gopher that's on Kyler Murray duty.
I guarantee that's going to happen. Somebody's going to be paid in that organization to quote unquote babysit. So that may be his job. That may be his duty. So
that's a doggone shame, man. Your franchise quarterback, you got to add that in there.
All right, so you're checking out the Man Cave. It's me, Craig Black. I'm your special guest host, and for my man Stanton, I got my man Sadal. We got Coach BT. We got T-Bone in here. We're coming to you live on the platform Sports Talk Network. You can catch us live on Twitter, on Facebook, and YouTube on the platform Sports Talk. Just follow us. We're also on Roku. We're coming to you live right now on the Hot 365radio.com app right now. Download the app. Come on, follow us. Do all that. We're on that app. And also don't forget I always got to talk about the ladies. Shout out to the ladies night and shout out to the platform Sports Talk show. I keep messing up. My bad, Smooth. I won't mess it up no more. I got you, man. I got you.
It's a platinum show, man. It's a platinum.
The show is platinum. That's why I keep saying it. It's so platinum we are.
Hey, look,
we're on the platform, though. You know what I'm saying?
You just ahead, because once we get on Patreon, we're gonna have that platinum tier for the platform Sports Talk show. You know what I'm saying?
We need some platinum sponsors. That's what we need. You know what I'm saying?
Messy.
Hey, but BT, real quick, you brought up what was happening in St. Louis weather-wise. In the flooding. I'm in Washington, D.C., but I have a lot of friends that I had to check up on and check with. A lot of stuff was happening in St. Peter's and Hazelwood. But can y'all help me out? What other areas were affected by this? I heard St. Louis got like 8 inches of rain within a 2-hour period or something like that.
Yeah, it was like U City was really affected, and a lot of the Metrolink stations were like underwater, like I'm talking about up to the brim, like 8 feet high in flood water.
I think my storage unit may have had some issues, but I haven't been able to check on it yet.
Yeah, no, it was real bad. I think back to like the Great Flood of 1993 out there by like River de Peur and all. South St. Louis was hit real hard. So it's just real unfortunate because it's hard to even. I mean, you can't even fathom nothing like this. We go from having a week of just hot weather to something like that happen. So you have to prepare for pretty much everything. So
that's crazy. So Prayers go out to everybody that was affected by the storms that came through St. Louis and the floods, and man, and hopefully, I don't know if or how many people were lost in this flood, but prayers and condolences goes out to all the families. It's real. That's from the platform Sports Talk Network and the Man Cave. And Alice Williams, one of our great listeners and fans of the show, says a lot of areas had no warning. So I guess wow, they got all that Doppler and all that type of technology within the weather, and you think you got some type of warning. It's crazy. Anyway, we got to keep it moving, fellas. Right now, we're gonna bring our special guest to the show on the Man Cave, and our guest has over 21 years of coaching and developing NBA players experience, players from high school to the NBA. He's a USA basketball floor coach. He's developed players like Tyler Cook, Ben McLemore, my man Bradley Beal. Yeah, he's a wizard. He ain't going nowhere. Jason Tatum, James Wiseman. James Wiseman's a baller. We need him in Washington. My man Moses Moody, Wayne Gabriel, and I'm just gonna bring him on there. My man Corey Frazier. He's a skills and development coach. We're gonna bring my man Corey up into the Man Cave so we can rap to him. How you doing, Corey?
Man,
welcome to the Man Cave.
Good, man. Thank you guys for having me on, man. I appreciate it, man. I really do. Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking time
what's
out.
going on?
PT.
All right. So Corey, man, off the bat, man. I'm gonna talk about a player that I'm a big fan of, and you've worked with because he's the star of my team. He's the leader of my squad who has no real future winning ever a championship ever, but he got paid. He got paid. We paid him well. I'm talking about my man Bradley Beal, straight out of St. Louis, man. So tell me about some of your development. How did you help him throughout his career to bring him to the superstar that he is right now, the all-star in the NBA that he is right now?
Man, I would say, man, it goes back probably years. I think Brad probably was in maybe the 7th or 8th grade when I first saw him. He was playing with Team St. Louis, and that's where the first time I got a chance to see him. I remember Mr. Ron Golden, who's one of the founders of the St. Louis Eagles, and Rich Gray. We're talking about this young man who could play, and I remember going to watch them play a game. Him, Shaquille Boga, and a couple of other guys were playing. I'm like, dang, who was this kid, man? He used to have little dreads on his head back in the day. But I mean, kick it flat out, shoot it, man. But he had this thing about him, the way he carried himself on the court, that kind of separated himself from the other players, man. So that's when I first saw him. So got in the gym. I remember him coming in when he was younger, working with bench shoes. Like he was getting them legs together, and calf muscles huge as I don't know what, man. But Brad was one of those guys who was a fearless worker when he was young, and it's obviously carried over into who he is today. So been knowing a young man for a long time, was able to coach him a little bit, work with him some as he was coming up as well. So been able to, I would say I'm blessed to have the opportunity to work with someone with that wealth of talent. Who you can see early on, who was going to have a chance to be something special, man. So just a blessing to be a part of his career so far, and just watching him grow. And man, now he's got the big bag. He's got Santa Claus.
Yeah, he got that bizag. That's what he got. So let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask you a personal question real quick. It has meaning when I'm going. How old are you, sir?
46.
46 years old. I asked you how old you are because you're a skills development coach. From the times you started coaching and dealing, from when you were playing in your playing days, and then you start coaching, when the game transitioned, when it became a shooter's game, a 3-point game, how did you change your skills development? How did that switch? How did you switch up your game? It became that's not pounded down to the big man. Let's pass it around the perimeter and let's jack this three up.
I think I was able to adapt because I was in the know of understanding that the game was evolving. And to be honest with you, shooting has always been a big priority when it comes to basketball. Because if you can't shoot, then you fall into a role of being a defensive player, or what they call a slash or a wing, somebody who doesn't they don't run plays for us. So shooting has always been a knack, but now it is a premium for everybody to be able to shoot. If you can shoot the ball, that puts you in a whole different conversation. So for me as a trainer, I never changed anything that I did in my approach to it. I always start from the feet up. If I can get your feet right, get your hand-eye coordination right, then we can always get to shooting. And I think for people to shoot, you have to spend countless of hours in the gym working on breaking yourself down and perfecting the craft of shooting. Everybody doesn't want to spend time shooting. And BT as a coach, you know how we go. We prefer to do the one-on-one thing and get our skill, the crossover, more tight than we are worried about shooting. And then when they get to college, next thing you know, they're coming back like, man, coach wanted me to shoot the ball better. Well, that should have been the focus when you were younger, or when you get into high school, or I would say middle school, where you actually start really developing what it means to really shoot the ball and how effective shooting things and how shooting can actually get you into a better conversation when you're getting recruited as a high school kid, et cetera. So you got to be able to shoot the ball. So for me, I know everybody wants to be Steph Curry, but there's still opportunities for guys to be, LeBron. There's guys to be MJ. There's guys to be Allen Iverson. There's still spots on the floor that need to be filled. But the game has evolved to where if you're a big guy and you can't shoot, you're almost useless in the NBA now. But Joel Embiid, guys like that, they're bringing that thing back. So it ain't too far. It goes around, it comes right back to it. So
that name, Joel Embiid, he has all what you just said. He can be down low. He can shoot it from the three. He's all that in one. He's like that prototype, I guess, big man right now.
He's a rare. He's rare.
Yeah, he's rare. All right, so it's the Man Cave coming to you live from the Platinum Sports Talk Network. My name is Craig Black, and I got the fellas up in here. And I got my man T-Bone. T-Bone, you can catch us on Twitter. Where? How can you get us at Twitter?
Well, you want to catch us on, let's see what the graphic says here. I think on the graphic it says at 314 Sports Talk Show. And for those of y'all listening on Twitter or watching on Twitter, we know, Coach Frazier apparently has impacted a lot of people. So, if you're listening or watching on Twitter and you want to send a comment in, go ahead and send the comment over to the Platform Sports Talk Show on YouTube. So go ahead over to YouTube real quick, send in some comments. We want to hear from y'all because apparently he's touched a lot of people. So we want to make sure y'all get a chance to, ask some questions. We want to make sure that, we get a chance to represent everybody out here. And by the way, when y'all go to the Platform Sports Talk Show on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Let the people know you are subscribed in. And Sadal, what happens when they subscribe?
You will be notified.
That's right. And when they once they also do that, go ahead and hit that bell. Because what happens when they hit that bell? That's
then
right.
Yeah.
He missed his cue.
No, he kind of whatever. Because when he hit that bell, it means we go live. And once we go live, you will be notified.
All right.
So, Coach Frazier, you basically gave my theory about Dwight Howard because I'm down here in Orlando right now. So you said what happens with a big man that can't really shoot and stuff. So anyway, it was a good run while it lasted. So hopefully the next big man that we get won't be taken by the Lakers. That's all I can say. Anyway,
you got some young guys coming up, man. You got what's my man name? Out of where's he from? Out of Jersey, up in the Jersey, a young guy, Mo Bamba. So you still got hope. He can shoot a little bit. I think if he keeps working on his game and continue to focus on it, he'll get better. But I mean, like I said, shooting is a premium, and especially in the NBA. Most colleges are going to that style. If you go to Europe, a lot of big guys can really shoot or they can really pass the ball. So you got to find a niche, whichever one's going to make you that's going to get you paid. You got to figure out which lane you're going to fall into.
I always compared Dwight Howard specifically to like the Dome in St. Louis. Like it was good at the time when it came, but then a few years after it was in, after the Dome was in service, everything else started passing it by. You got the retractable roof stadiums and everything like that. So, it's that's what I always compare him to. Because like after he got into the league, everything started passing him by. You got 7-footers shooting 3-pointers, and he wasn't that guy. But this is not my lane, so I will pass that off to BT. And,
Coach, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Just still trying to make the adjustment here in Atlanta, man. Just trying to figure it out still.
Yeah, so that was gonna be kind of my question. I kind of want you kind of to touch on, man. Like you had a stellar career at coaching at the high school level, and just being around just that young nucleus and that player kind of coming up, and you're able to see these guys develop, and you can kind of say, man, this kid is gonna be tough later on down the road. How was it making that transition from that level, and again being at the elite Nike level and seeing those guys, which you're going to see the next level NBA players from 10 years down the line? Talk about the OTE and getting a chance to work with and developing the next line of NBA star or complete pro player, and what are the different adjustments that you had to make from the high school level to even coaching at this level right now?
I would say for me, the hardest part has been, coaching at the high school level is one of those things where it's an acquired taste. You got to really want to help kids. You got to really be in it for helping kids. You got to really pour into kids. It can't be about yourself. So I guess my experience, in the transition from being, normal high school coach to come to here is the talent pool is different. I mean, there's some talented guys everywhere, but here at OTE, everybody's good. I mean, these kids, they specialize in either their athleticism, they're either good passers, they got great size, they got great length. They kind of check all those boxes for professional athletes, which, they do. And our league is built around high level talent. So it's a unique league that guys get to play in. But the thing that separates them from high school, high school, we got certain times and dates we can work with guys. Not here at OT. We get our guys 24/7, 365. We can have them as much as we want. We don't have a time where we got to put them at the gym, turn out the lights or anything like that. These guys are in the gym really focusing on being basketball players and really, learning pro habits. You got great culture with Kevin Ollie, Dave Lato. You got Ryan Gomes, former player as well. Tim Fanning, former NBA player and coach and stuff. So, just the whole cast of people with Overtime just gives you a different experience. And there's no knock against college or any high school or anything, but our level of attention to details is just a lot different than it is going to a high school or any college.
Right. Because you see it. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, I just have one quick question for the people that don't know. What does OTE stand for? Just break down the acronym for me.
So it's called Overtime Elite. Overtime is really known for the social media company who really came up a couple years ago, was focusing in on sports and just capturing sports moments that caught wildfire across the world. So it is now probably the biggest social media company with sport that I can even think of. When I got here, I had no idea how big it was until I got here and was like, wow, this thing is way bigger than what I expected. So their platform for athletes is phenomenal.
Okay. Go right ahead, BT. I'm sorry.
No. You said the word culture, and I just remember, man, the culture that you had at Maplewood, and just bringing guys in, working guys out, and it's kind of like an incubator, just talented guys that that it's like steel sharpening steel. If I know that I can get at Maplewood or John Burroughs and get in those runs that Coach Frazier has, that I can improve my game. Talk about the culture at OT. You kind of touched on it just a little bit, but what does the culture look like? Having tons of talent in the gym and just working 24/7 to get these guys ready for the next level. So kind of touch on that a little bit.
I would say the way it works is guys have already bought in. They've already given themselves to Overtime and they trust in the process. And that's the hardest part, is getting guys to trust the process. Then you got to look at who they are and who they're projected are, who they're compared to at the next level. That's part of the process that we have to go through in preparing them and seeing where they could possibly be at the next level. Not so much as what team they could play for, but so say for instance, we were talking about shooting earlier. We got guys that can shoot, but we need to make sure they are special in shooting. They have to specialize in shooting, that they become professional shooters to where you know, they're catching and shooting. They're playing against closeouts. They can get one dribble pull-ups, but they also know that their job lies behind shooting. So they understand who they are a lot sooner than, you know, we go through college. You know, you got a lot of guys who led the country in scoring, and you know, they get to the NBA. You're like, dang, that dude was really good at that university. What happened? You know, well, he starts to sink into the role of who he's going to be. So we're able to identify that a little bit better, not put them in a box, but identify what their strengths are and just maximize on the strength. Because if you want to play and make money, you have to be able to do one or two things really, really well. And I mean, exceptionally well for you to get money from them. So, you know, just no different. We apply for a job. In order for me to get that job, BT, I got to be just as good as the guy I'm standing next to, you know? So, and I have to have something special about me for me to get hired. So that's the same thing that our culture has. But the other piece is we have a lot of NBA guys that come through Atlanta and come to overtime just to get in with our guys and be able to, you know, you say steel sharpens steels, you get iron sharpens iron, you get a chance to actually talk and interact, you get in a workout with them. I remember Pau Gasol comes in the gym and, you know, he's a champion and he's able to talk to, you know, some of our guys, you know, and like interact with those guys. So you don't get that everywhere else. And they can also reach out to them. You know, all the NBA guys, I mean, Colin Sexton, I've seen him in there. Trae Young has been in there. Anthony Edwards has been in all summer. So you don't get that everywhere else. And especially not where you can actually interact with these guys. So that level of talent to go with guys who are already there, who can tell them the story on how much harder you got to work, and they can watch this guy work out and they can jump in those workouts. That's priceless.
All right, it's the Man Cave. We're coming to you live on the Platinum Sports Talk show. We got our special guest, Coach Corey Frazier, on with us. And so I got a question about the individual skills and making it to the next level. You just said that, you know, you got to find somebody that's special in that position. So there's but so many guys that's going to make it to that NBA level, but there's a lot of other professional leagues that people can play in. Mm-hmm. But how is it that you got some college guards and that are on championship teams and they never really develop, they never really get that real good look at the NBA. But you see these I'm gonna use LaMelo Ball as an example. You know, he didn't have that stellar college. He didn't do anything in college. When I say that stuff, he didn't have that college hype. He had his father promoting him that type of hype, but he still got that serious look. You know, and I'm sure it's a lot of other point guards out there that were on the college level that were just not saying just as good, but were on that LaMelo level. But LaMelo actually got that chance to show everybody. Some of these guys don't really get that chance to get out there and do it. So how does that transition? How do you? I guess that's my opinion on that.
No, so man, it's a good question because a lot of times we don't understand, we don't get it, we don't know, and even me being in this, there's a lot of things that happen. You're like, man, that don't make sense. But then you got to also factor in, it's not just about playing. Sometimes it's about character. It's about what you do off the court, what type of baggage you bring in, who you hang around. When these people are getting ready to pay you money and to play the game of basketball, they want to know everything about you. So they're going to peel back every layer. They'll call your kindergarten teacher. I mean, I'm serious. They'll call anybody. They'll pull up on Twitter or IG or something and be like, hey, I saw that you know such and such. Can you tell me what type of person he was? Well, who does he hang with? Will he be great in the locker room? Will he be okay coming off the bench? Like, they ask so many different questions. So a lot of times they don't even have anything to do with them actually playing, because there's a lot of talented guys that are playing overseas that probably still should be playing in the NBA. But then your representation, what are you putting out on social media when you're marketing yourself, your brand, what does your brand look like? So are you marketable? I look at, Zion down at New Orleans, a guy like that who, people question his weight or whatever, but he's a fan favorite. He gonna sell tickets. So he played, how many games he played last year, BT? I'm not even sure, but there's some guys that's just as talented or just as skilled, may not have the athleticism, but have a better skill set that gotta wait, or the league is about youth. It's about the young guy. I'd rather take a risk on a young guy and say, okay, at least he's young. That's going to be my excuse if he doesn't pan out, than an old guy who's played and just who he is, and you don't see him getting any better. So the league would rather just take a chance on that younger guy than an older guy who's been in school for a long time. He's just considered old. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the unfortunate thing about the business. But I get it. You want youth, but when youth doesn't pan out, then the experience means something, especially those championship teams. You got to look at a lot of championship teams who didn't play hardly any of their young guys when it came down, like Golden State didn't play hardly any of their young guys when it came down the stretch to win the championship. They went with the older guys. So it's crazy how it works, but a lot of times it had nothing to do with them playing, to be honest with you.
When you say that, with that baggage, a name comes to my head, Michael Beasley. And I watch him, I've seen the interviews he's done on a couple of podcasts, and the baggage that he had with him from a mental standpoint. And but his skills are so great. And it's like, to see him not in the league, it's like, and I watch some teams like my Washington Wizards, how terrible we are, the people we put in the games. I'm like, why we ain't got Michael Beasley? I mean, it's like, but I understand what you're saying now. You're talking about baggage, all right? But once again, it's the platform. I'm getting it right. Platform Sports Talk Show. We are the Man Cave, and I'm Craig Black. I had to say it that way because I messed it up 5 to 10 times, and I was about to be charged $10 every time I messed it up. My producer just hit me in my ear. So, but right now we go to my man Sadal. He has a question. Go right ahead, Sadal.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know, coming up, growing up, you got a love for sports. How did you get into sports? How did you get into the game of basketball growing up?
I really didn't have a choice. I think I told BT this story probably during the pandemic. We had a talk, but my uncle Ricky Frazier played at University of Missouri. I don't know if you guys remember him. Late 70s, early 80s with John Sumvold and who else did they have back then? Big guy, Stepanovic and those guys. So I kind of got baptized into basketball before I even knew I would even like basketball. So my family is down from Southeast Missouri. That's how I started falling in love with the game. So my uncle Rick used to just take me around court to court, watching him play when he was younger coming up. And I just fell in love with it. And, once I stopped playing, I played at St. Louis University. Once I finished playing, it was what's next. And I wanted to find a way to give back. Didn't have the financial means to do that. So I got into coaching. My barber got me into coaching basketball. So that's how I ended up doing that. And then I mean, when you say fall in love with the game, I really fell in love with the game because I was able to see teaching translate into an actual game setting and to watch kids go out and perform and looking at things that you taught them, just like, raising your child, watch your child go out into the world after you've given them all the lessons in life and see them become successful. That's that feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it takes a special type of person to be able to teach the game, to be a coach, with that motivation and to actually teach the skills. That's something deep. I ain't mean to cut you off, so dog. Go right ahead.
You good. And I think the thing for me with when I say teach is because I didn't growing up. I played for Lennox McFerrin, probably one of the toughest high school coaches in the state of Missouri, probably history. Our focus was defense. So my thing of, learning the game was like, if I ever get a chance to teach guys, I'm definitely going to teach them what to do offensively. So that was another trigger to really help me start getting to skill development was, all the teams that I had at Maplewood was to make sure that those guys learned the other side of the basketball. Yes, it's good to play defense. Defense will get you on the court because you work harder at it, but you got to learn how to put the ball in the basket or make a play. That's the game. And if you can't do either one, then this ain't like football. You just can't play on one side. You got to play both ends of the court. So, you have to be able to contribute on both ends of the court if you want to be successful at the game.
That's true. That's real. All right. It's the Man Cave coming to you live on the platform Sports Talk Show. And once again, I'm Craig Black in for my man Stanton on vacation doing his thing. We got a special guest, Corey Frazier. And we got my man Sadal, T-Bone, and Coach BT in the building. And I'm going to throw out a question about, I guess, the St. Louis Golden Child right now. My man Jason Tatum, you brought him up as well. You coached him up as well. So tell us about your experiences with working with Jason Tatum.
It goes back to his mom and dad, man. I knew them both when we were at St. Louis University together, and you know, I used to look at Jason when he come in the gym. It's like, man, his parents must just don't love him because he keep coming in here with me, and we're going to work hours on hours and just getting better, man. Just watching him grow. Jason, when I first saw him when he was younger, was probably one of the best passers. And I think I posted that on social media during the playoffs, early playoffs. Like, believe it or not, Jason Tatum has always been a great passer, been a great facilitator. So to watch him get over 10 assists in the game is like, you know, that's normal. But that kid he's special. And for him to be where he is today, every time I look up and just seeing the crowds that he's with and the people that's around him, man, is like a dream come true. Like I said, been knowing him for years, but to watch his skill putting the ball on the floor, people don't talk about it enough, but his footwork probably, you know, up there with Olajuwon. I thought Olajuwon had the best footwork I'd ever seen in the game. But for a guy to have that ball in his hand facing the basket to do that, you don't see that. And then you see from his workouts with myself, working with Drew as he got a little bit older when he went to college, to see him kind of transition into who he is today. You saw that coming up. You knew he was going to be special coming up. But he was, I think when he was younger, he was so nice. And I used to, you know, we pushed him hard as all get out. And I know he didn't understand it at the time, but our thing was, you got to be tough. And that's why he has that drive and that knack to this day. He may not, you know, most people won't admit it. They probably thought the coaching was a little too rough or tough, but that's what puts you across that threshold to really put you in the conversation between being an elite player to being a superstar, you know. So, and he's close to being that superstar status for what he is and what he's done, but he's put in the time and the effort and the work to do that. But that dude, I get chills talking about him because he's so talented, man. And the crazy thing is, we ain't seen the best of him yet.
Yeah. He's still so young too, man.
Oh,
he got
so I'm saying that youth. He's a young guy.
Yeah. He got that. Yeah. His upside is it's incredible. Insane. You mentioned St. Louis University, so you were in there with his father Justin and Larry Hughes too, huh?
Right. Yep. Played with both.
Okay, so he had some great players to look at during that time too. He had some guys that could flat out ball. So that, you know, and he picked a lot of those skills up. Does anybody else have a question about Jason Tatum? Coach BT?
Oh man, you know, me and Coach Corey, man, we can sit for all day, man, and just take the show over just talking about hoops. But one thing that I kind of touched on, and it was during the playoffs and being able to see Jason reach some milestones similar to Kobe Bryant. I think he might have broke Kobe Bryant's playoff scoring record. And so the notion came out there is like, is he on track to being one of the greatest of all time? And I know that's kind of taboo, but again, you actually saw this kid come up through the ranks. Is it possible that we can be talking about like the next legendary player that can get a statue outside of? And I'm hoping that he can stay in one team for his whole career. Can he be one of those statue type players?
He will be. And the reason why he will be is because he's driven. When you coming up, watching him sacrifice all the other things that a lot of other guys were doing, you know, being out, girls and all that stuff, you know, you got mom and dad who like ain't having it. So he was already destined for this regardless, no matter what. So, but that drive and you know, a lot of guys, when they make it, sometimes they just quit working. You know, they're okay with just getting there. You know, I get to the party, I'm good. But no, you want to be the life of the party. You want to be the standard. And that's Jason. Like, and he believes that. But the next step for him is going to be to, okay, let me test drive this Ferrari and let's see how fast it can really go and take that step. You know, don't worry about what people are saying in the media or, man, block all that out, because good or bad, you're going to get it. So you might as well get ready to play through that. But I can see him having a statue in the state of Missouri somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I can see him having that in Boston if he stays, you know. So no matter what, he's a guy who can have it. And he's already close to being the face of the league. So, you know, as soon as LeBron steps over out the way, I think he's the next one up. I'm sorry for KD fans, but, you know.
Oh
Hey,
wow,
it is.
wow. That kind
That's
of
a
hurt.
sore subject for Craig.
That hurt a little bit there.
Yeah, man. I love KD too, but man,
That hurt a little bit there, Coach. Come on
he
now.
been tripping.
Hey, I'm curious. For all of the young players coming up and watching this interview, what kind of advice can you give a young player, young person coming up who has dreams of becoming that next Jason Tatum and being a star in the NBA? What kind of advice can you give them?
I think the hardest thing for guys now is don't believe everything you see on social media, and get out of your own way. A lot of guys just stay in their own way because somebody's already told them they're good. So when they meet adversity, they tend to just look at, well, I got followers, I got likes, I still got 30 points, and I still, what I'm saying, stuff like that, and that stunts your growth because you quit working. Like I said, a lot of guys get to the league and stop working. A lot of guys start making a little money or getting a little fame or get likes and stuff on social media. They actually quit working because they feel like, well, this is going to get me by, but that's false. What gets you by is that blood, sweat, and tears that nobody see when you're in that gym. So it's what you do away from the cameras. It's what you do when nobody's looking that helps you be successful. And people throw that around. BT, you probably hear the guys talking about, well, I get up and work out at 6 a.m. Okay, but what are you doing at 6 a.m.? Are you doing purposeful work? Or are you in here practicing dunks? Or are you in here practicing the AI crossover when you're not a point guard? Then I always ask guys, who is your favorite player? Well, if I'm 6'1" and I'm a point guard, I can like LeBron James, but that ain't who I need to model my game by, because that's a different breed of guy. So a lot of times it's being real with who you're going to become. Who can you be? And that's why we say we look at the guys that are in our OTE arena is, who are you? Where you projected as? Who is your comp player? Who are you like? That stops a lot. I've heard a lot of guys say, they want to be Jason Tatum, and I just laugh. Do y'all know what that man went through to get to where he is right now? Stuff that y'all couldn't even imagine. So when y'all worried about being on a cell phone, that man was in the gym working, sweating, working on his handles, working on footwork without taking a shot for weeks. And then you come back. Now I'm gonna work on shooting the next. Can you sacrifice going to the gym without shooting a 3-pointer? Just working on your ball handling and your footwork and working on passing. So if you're not willing to sacrifice to be good, then don't come to the gym. Don't even worry about it. You can play basketball, just play basketball for fun, but don't say that you want to be successful at the game if you're not willing to do things that don't show up on social media. That's all I'm saying.
I get that.
Right. No, and one other thing, Coach, because I think you kind of touched on this, but when they came up with the whole concept of the OTE, man, I love the format right off the bat, because it for an American player, like you said, coming up through the ranks, we have so many limitations on the times that high school coaches can work with this, that, and the one player. And it kind of puts us on the same track as like a European player or the European game. And we all know that, that gap was always closing from, the Olympics and guys overseas being like the face of the league, even like the Giannis's and the Lucas and all of these different guys. The buffer between, because you get kids that commit, these kids that already know that they have a good chance because they're top 10, top 50 players. How is it for the parents, that the parent involvement? Because again, these are still young kids. Right. Do you have so much of the parents kind of overstepping, basically trying to tell you guys what they should see in their players, even though this is their job technically? So kind of talk about that, just the difference and the buffers between the parents and the kids commit.
I would say, outside of OTE, everybody thinks that their kid is the next one, right? But coming to OTE is almost that you can't fool us. You know what I'm saying? You can't trick us to get us to believe that your kid is the next Penny Hardaway or none of that. We already know. We already went through all of that. We already know who we getting when they come in the door. But I think so far we have not, we don't have the interaction. We see parents, we talk to parents, but we don't have that interaction with them telling us, well, my kid is he might be 6'9", he a point guard. No, we kind of figure out who you are. So we haven't had that interaction with any parents like that, So, but I will say this. Our concept is unique, like I said at the beginning, because we are allowed to work with them consistently all throughout the year. Even doing, we may have games throughout the year or what have you, but we're able to get in there and actually work. So it's almost like, you have pre-draft for the NBA. Guys get 8 to 10 weeks to get ready for their first NBA Summer League game, or if they get drafted, right? Well, we get 10 to 12 months of just pre-draft work over and over and over, to where it starts to become a habit for these guys. So the main thing is just creating those habits for them, which are those pro habits, and understand you got to get to sleep. You got to eat right. You got to get hydrated. You got to, you got to be at the gym when it's time to be at the gym. If you're late, a minute, then that doesn't sense for you. Professionals are not late. They don't be late unless you're a superstar and you get that grace period of 30 minutes or whatever they give you. But, you just got to have better habits. And our guys got really good habits. And that's the reason why those guys are going to go off and be successful, whether they play in the NBA or play in Europe. They're going to be successful because they have pro habits.
All right. So we're still hanging out with Coach Frazier in the Man Cave on the platform Sports Talk Show. I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned social media, and I want to know how y'all deal with this new NIL stuff, because some of these young kids, some of these young men are taking advantage of it, and I applaud it 100%. So how do you navigate through those waters with that social media, because they're exposing, they're doing it, they're seeing all that? You can't believe all of it, but the dollars are coming in, and it's starting to be proven. Right. I mean, I look at Coach Prime and how he uses his social media to promote his school, his product, to get recognition to the HBCUs, and I'm seeing the NIL stuff. So tell me, how do as a coach, Corey, how do you navigate through that with that type of that side of the social media?
Well, I think it's good when you are doing positive marketing, when you're marketing for a good reason. Like you said, Coach Prime, his thing is he's got to promote his school, because he doesn't get a chance to, he don't have commercials and stuff unless it's his own commercials. But even his commercials, you're going to see him with JSU on, every time you see it. So for us, in OTE, we don't really have those issues because we're a social media company. So we want to promote our guys. We want our guys to be seen and everything. So the more they're out and their faces are out on the screen and whatever, that's more marketable for them. That's building their brands, but it's done in a positive manner. And it's not, I look at, I just was reading something about some coaches, collegiate coaches that are recruiting kids are telling them, hey, be careful what you put out on social media. You can't put out on social media drinking and smoking weed and all that stuff. That's you kill your own brand. Nobody has to tell you that you're not going to get paid if you're doing it. You're not going to get a job if you're doing that. So, like I said, if it's done in a positive manner, that's good. But you can't spend so much time, like I said, with being an athlete on social media to a point where you forget that there you still got to work. You still got to go out and work on your game. So as good as it may seem, because you're getting the likes and the views, but the day you stop working and focus on like and views, like I hate when guys work out and in the middle workout go run to their phone like, what for? You don't need to do that, and that tells me where your mindset is. But to be honest with you, that's today's society. I don't care who it is. That's just what they're doing now. So we either embrace it or we just don't deal with it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a paradigm shift. It's like, it's like before, I guess when I was coming up, I'm 50 right now, working out in the gym, if you talked out of turn, you got hit, slapped in the back of the head, or kicked out the gym. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't, it was no type of interruptions during the coach's time. But now it's, cameras everywhere, phones everywhere, everybody's texting out, and it is, I guess some of the, I'm not gonna say it's total, the seriousness is totally gone, but some of the seriousness is it's like it opened up a way for it not to be taken that serious. You know what I'm saying? All the time. It's like, come on, coach, I'm doing this on a, they try to talk, and back in the day, the better players usually got away with a lot of things. Is that still happening right now?
It happens. I mean, I'll be lying if I sit here and say the best players don't get away with certain things.
Yeah,
that's just the nature of it. But most of the time, that best player, he's probably staying late, coming in early. He's doing all the necessary things to have that tag. But what comes with that tag is responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So if I am late and if I am getting a little bit more just because of that, and I'm not taunting the guys for my actions, but that can be taken away just as well as it was given to you too. So I think guys has got to be conscious of what they're putting into the air and what they want people to see. A lot of guys are not conscious of that because they feel like, well, if I do something crazy, I'm gonna get a like. Then there's guys who don't even like it at all, and people are on them like, why don't you do more, posting? And it really does help build your brand, but some guys just don't like it, and that's just the nature of it. So this new era, man, this is something different for me. I can tell you that, but I'm enjoying them, embracing it. I'm just figuring it out as I go, man.
Yeah, it's real. That name, image, and likeness. It's it's a money grab, man. It's like that bag, man. I'm not mad at it at all, man.
If you can get it, you can get it. If you can get it, go get it.
So, that's
not to
let's get them paid. I'm not gonna lie, man. For the longest time, and I still do. I have my issues with the NCAA and how they treated our college football players and our basketball players that drove billions of dollars into these men's pocket, the top of the line pocket, and they were trying to tell them that you can't, it's illegal for you to get paid. It's illegal for you to do that. And this shift, I welcome it because I like to see these young men get some money. They make the money. And a lot of people don't understand the NCAA is a non-profit. So
right.
They ain't paying no taxes.
Right.
And they making billions on top of billions. It's crazy. So to not pay the athletes, I just had a serious issue with that. I voiced that opinion and I'm still there. I'm still not a fan of NCAA, even though they giving little crumbs right now. How about that?
It's still not even balanced, Craig. It's
not
because I'm always arguing with some guys I know that are coaches about, okay, number 1, 2, 3, and 4 might get a check, but what about number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the end of the bench who is not going to get a deal? How is that fair to them? And I think the universities have to do more of, profit sharing. Like, hey, everybody.
Yes.
So they got to figure out a way to now. What you get outside of this, that's solely on you. But this is what we're going to get.
I look at it like this, man. When you transfer, I'm gonna throw football out there for a second. Ohio State University, their stadium holds like 80,000 people. Any given Saturday, it's packed to the rim, and you got another probably 10,000 outside just standing. You can pay off everybody in every sport on one game. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can make $50,000 for one game. You can just take that pay to pay all athletes on the university for one game. So it's like, I don't know, man.
I stick to my point that I don't feel that the NCAA or the schools in particular need to pay the players because, like I said, the players benefit in a completely different way. I'm not against players making money. Again, if you can get deals like they're getting right now, that's what I've always thought should have happened in the first place. If you can make money off your name and likeness, they should be able to do that because, there's a flip side of this too, because you got a lot of students going to school right now who are paying massive tuitions. And last time I checked, there hasn't been an alert that student loan debt has been canceled. So, I go at it from the other side here because there's two things that those players get that nobody else gets. One, they get tuition, room, and board. That's all one thing right there. Second thing is every player who is a top level player specifically, they get the opportunity to market themselves by their playing at those schools. So I know it's not the popular thing to say, but because, nobody likes the NCAA just getting rich off of everybody at the same time. But think about if the NCAA didn't exist, how would those players be able to market their skills to the leagues? They would have to pay somebody for those reels. They would have to pay somebody for the time. They would have to pay somebody for all that stuff.
T-Bone, I got disagree wholeheartedly, man. I disagree with that wholeheartedly, man.
Yeah, because go ahead, Craig. I'm sorry.
I just look at and I know we gotta transition, but before we get there, before we transition, I gotta get this out. Before we transition, I just look at it how the state that we're in right now with education and what that degree really gets you in the United States of America right now. what's that degree really worth? Most of these, hold on. I understand, half of these colleges are charging anywhere upwards to like $100,000 for your degree in the upwards. If you go to some of the big universities, what does it translate when you try to get into the real workforce and you got all these kids out here with these degrees and none of them are getting jobs?
Well, you can't say none, but also on the flip side, if you go to school for free, you've already got a head start on all those other people who had to pay to go to school. Your job as a player is if you're a football or basketball specifically, your job is to be out there on the field so that other people will want to come to that school. So,
but at the same time, where would that university be without those players? Where would that university be without those big name players? Where would Nick Saban be without his players?
Okay, Craig, let me give you a flip side.
You know what? We're gonna jump back here. Let's go ahead and transition
because I want in on that too. But go ahead.
Okay, all right. We're gonna transition real quick. All right, it's the Man Cave. All right, coming to you live on the Platform Sports Talk Show. I'm Craig Black. I gotta thank. He's not going nowhere. He's gonna hang out with us, but I'm thanking him anyway. My special guest, our special guest, Corey Frazier. 21 years of coaching and developing NBA players from high school to the NBA. Corey, I appreciate you. You're going to hang out with us for a while, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be here.
He's going to hang out with us for a little bit because we're going to transition to some other topics. We're going to come right back here into this NCAA topic that I just brought up, talking about players getting paid real quick. I'm going to go to you, Sadar. You said you want to jump on him. Let Sadar go ahead and say his thing.
No, I just want to hear what both sides have to say. I know BT had something to say.
Okay, it was BT. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant the wrong guy. I'm sorry. Go ahead, BT. You got yourself muted, BT.
Oh, my fault. So my whole point was that if the players were allowed to get paid, they can pay for their tuition. So the tuition, that whole point of the tuition, the NCAA for so long has just been hiding under the auspice of, okay, we're giving out school, we're giving out this. But, a lot of these kids, they go to these universities for specialized skills, and so why not have it to where you're going to actually either get paid for the skill that you're going for, because that's basically what opened up the door for the OTE, to be able to have someone to where people can go and actually work on their game and work on the things that they're going to actually use later on down in life. They're working on their skill. So the NCAA is just, for the longest, it's just been taking advantage and using the whole scholarship room and board type deal as like a caveat to get you to come in. But I mean, at any point, if you're getting paid, you can actually pay for your schooling. And like Craig said, once you get the degree, you may not even use the degree that you ended up getting, so that's my whole take. You get the degree. What is it there for? It's just like another piece of paper. So,
but you know what, BT, to jump on the back of that point, I look at it back in the day when some of these colleges were giving these athletes in basketball and football, their majors were home economics. Their majors were knitting. Their majors were, you know what I'm saying? It was like
studies.
It's like, and that's why we are where we are right now, because they were using people. But go right ahead, T-Bone, make your point.
Okay, but just think about it from this standpoint. You a top ranked player. You coming to Alabama, right? You're coming to Alabama so you can win games for Alabama. What happens when Alabama becomes more known? What is that doing? That is getting people to come to Alabama to spend their money so that they can come out with large amounts of student debt. So you're telling me that the select few people who are the top players, and again, I know we're saying pay all the players here, right? But you're saying to me that we should pay these people who are bringing in people who are going to spend money to get a degree that you're saying isn't worthless, or that is worthless, basically. So I'm going to reward, just from an outsider standpoint, I'm going to pay them so that I can get other people to pay money. So I'm going to just think of the optics of that. You basically suckering people into getting a degree that isn't worth anything from basically what you're saying from that standpoint.
Can I say something?
Go right ahead.
From because I like the point that you just made, but it's entertainment. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when you go to a game, if it's gonna be, then don't charge to be at basketball games. You know what I'm saying? Don't charge to be at football games, because if you look at it, if they're gonna make money off you, is it the whatever they're paying for the scholarship is getting the ticket sales to pay back that money? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's what the ticket sales.
Exactly.
Where does the money go from the ticket sales, right?
I think that the ticket sales aren't necessarily the problem. I think it's more the television rights that they get.
It doesn't stop with the ticket sales, because if you go in those bookstores, I remember being at St. Louis University, and I still remember I wanted an Erwin Claggett jersey. You know what I'm saying? You're number 13, but you know I'm lying. You're right. Am I right, BT? So Erwin Claggett jerseys was walking all through St. Louis University's campus, and he didn't get no money from that. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to make money from them, that's name, image, likeness, correct? And it's no different than the video games as well. The NCAA, they agree, like, hey, y'all go ahead, and remember who was that? The O'Bannon guys,
right?
The O'Bannon brothers were the first ones to sue for the name, image, likeness, and we should pay for that. All I'm saying is this: if you're gonna give me a scholarship to come entertain you, then I should get money off of some of them ticket sales or at your bookstore. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm glad you just made that. Make your point. Go right ahead.
I'm glad you made that point, because I always go to the example. I was in HBCU. I was in the band. The bands are a huge part of the entertainment that goes into a college football game and basketball game. But if I were to say to people, hey, we should be paying the band, people are going to say, nah, the band, they don't bring in money, but at HBCU, they do. So what's the standpoint on that?
I think they should get paid.
My whole thing is that, you know, the money that you would give those players, if they want to use it, so it costs in-state tuition at Mizzou is almost $11,000. So if I decided to take a scholarship, okay, and you trying to sell me on, okay, we're gonna pay for room and board, we're gonna pay for you to get something to eat, you know, we're gonna take care of you, all of it. I would much rather say, just give me the $60,000, $50,000. I can take care and pay my way through school and then have a little something extra. And I'm not saying crack the bank and just go for top dollar, which a lot of these athletes deserve top dollar with the amount of time that you spend in using your time and your body to play that sport. But at the same time, it's just, you know, I would rather be compensated for that as opposed to using that as far as, you know, let's get a scholarship or room and board, and that's the trade-off. No, that doesn't make sense for me, you know. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, BT, let me put my 2 cents in, and I'm talking about I'm doing some hypothetical right now, y'all. I'm just looking at the amount of money, because I believe, Corey, you brought up TV deals, and that's has nothing to do with what's going on at the stadium, the ticket sales. So if we bring in TV deals, if we bring in that money, the SEC alone, just that division, just that whatever, just the SEC, nobody else. The money they make off of TV deals, they can pay every athlete on every team in the top 25 colleges in college. I'm talking about the badminton, the volleyball, the ping pong, the tennis, the golf. Everybody can walk away with like $20,000 off of that TV deal money they make at the SEC. This is what I'm talking about, the disparity. When I say that the NIL, they gave us some chip, they gave the players some chips, and then we kind of happy. We're like, oh, that's cool. They're getting something. That's still not nothing compared to what these institutions are bringing in off of these kids. And it had to change. They had to get out of that amateur role, because if they didn't, it was going to be more and more, I think, more backlash. It was going to come if they didn't. And this is the little open door. You know, it's a little, they're giving you a little bit right now. They slow feeding you, really, really slow. You know what I'm saying?
It's coming in August here. They're going to open this thing up to where, you remember we used to have the restricted earnings coaches and all that. Now you're going to be able to hire whoever you want to on your staff. They can have whatever role they want to give them. You can pay them whatever you want to pay them in terms of you could be your dad. I want that kid that bad. I can hire his dad to come to me. Something that came to mind when you talking about the TV deals, and I know back in the day, every round that you won in the NCAA tournament, I think the schools used to get money for it. If I'm not mistaken. And then on top of that, you look at all of the major universities. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go straight to Kentucky. He takes a private plane to go recruit all of his athletes. You know what I'm saying? And he ain't going to see a student that's, one of my boys texted me, said he ain't going to see a rocket scientist. You know what I'm saying? He ain't going to recruit a rocket scientist on no airplane, but he's going to get that feature, that face, that high level guy, that Jason Tatum, who's going to put people in those stands. You know what I'm saying? And the university going to support that, back that. So here you go. But what does he get in return other than his education? That's the question.
I just look at the optics. I remember watching the Fab Five special. They had the 30 for 30, and they was talking to, I think it was Rose, and he was being interviewed by someone at the time, and they walked past like the mall, and they showed his like jackets and jerseys in the window. And when the reporter just like innocently said, "Hey, want to go grab a burger? Go, I'll buy you, hamburger." And he was like, "Nah, I can't take it from you. I'll get in trouble." He's like, "Man, he ain't have any money to buy himself a hamburger." And here he is, his jersey's in the window. I mean, and then how can you make the argument? Oh, we shouldn't pay the players. I mean, the optics are not there, man.
And I'm gonna throw it from there, Sadal. I'm gonna throw it back to T-Bone. He says he has one more point to make before we switch subjects. But go right ahead, T-Bone.
All right. So listen, again, I'm not against players getting paid, and I don't want to make it seem like I just don't want the players to get paid. But the larger point is that we're only focusing on the sports aspect because we like to see the players succeed. I have no problem with that. But here's the outline that I would give real quick, and then we'll go ahead and move on. If in a perfect world, here's what would happen. You cancel student debt. You make public colleges tuition free. If you make public colleges tuition free, now we have a reason why the players should get paid, because now there's an exchange that's not even. The players' talents versus the other stuff that they get right now, to me, is an even exchange. If tuition is free if tuition is free, now the players' skills are worth something to those universities, because if they want to get those players to come to their school to recruit people to come, especially when you're talking about private colleges and stuff like that, now there's something worth it. So if we cancel the student debt, make public colleges free, then use that to make a reason why the players should get paid. Now, that's all I got to say about that. But, here we are at the Platform Sports Talk Show. We're on the Man Cave this week. It's the last Wednesday of the month. But as far as another topic real quick, I know we're going to take a real left turn real quick away from basketball, because y'all heard of this guy? Y'all heard of this guy named Vince McMahon? Y'all heard of him?
Yes.
Heard of this guy?
Yeah, we heard of that dude.
Well, Vince is basically run into some issues over the past few weeks. For those of y'all that haven't heard, there may have been I think it's a little there may have been some hush money that went out there. And I think I told everybody on the show, I believe I said it on the show a few weeks ago, the only issue that would come of this whole issue with the hush money scandal would be if the money did not come from the right place. And apparently the money did not come from the right place. So it was announced this past Friday at right after the stock market closed. Who would have thought? But it was announced right after the stock market closed that Vince McMahon, the leader of the WWE, has finally retired from everything. Like everything, not just CEO, not just chairman, not just creative, everything. and has also had to give back a few of those stocks that he has because apparently the money that he had was supposed to be classified as company expense. So he had to forfeit some stocks on his way out. He's been replaced by Triple H as the head of creative, and the world of the WWE has just completely changed in a matter of days. So before I say anything about it, fellas, any of you all who are followers of wrestling out there, anybody got any comments on this?
You know, it's not even a wrestling thing. I think it's a man law. I mean, if you got all this money, you a bazillionaire. Why are you using the company money to pay off your side piece? That didn't make no sense to me. Why? Oh, come on now. He got caught up. He did. It is what it is. He messed with the wrong side piece. Now you got to pay it. But why would you use the company money to pay off your side piece? It just, I'm lost at that. Somebody else can give their opinion, but it's kind of crazy to me. I didn't, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat too because I look at it as like, man, you have so many willing women out here that could possibly do it for the fraction of the cost, and bust up nothing that you got going on. I mean, what did Trump pay Stormy Daniels? Did he pay something like it was less than $3 million, you know, and it was multiple women, but yeah, it just, you know, a lot of these guys, man, they get so high up and they start, you know, kind of they floating off the success and thinking they can do whatever that they want to do, and they lose track of just the simple things. As like, look, you shouldn't go into that. You should have a whole nother fund that you should be able to dip into, you know. So yeah, that's just it's unfortunate. I just hate that, you know, the whole structure of wrestling and the WWE has to go down based on this, but hey, you got to be a little bit more smarter when you're thinking with that small head. So,
well, you know what though, the stock price after it opened on Monday, stock price actually went up after he left. So who would have thought?
Wow.
You know,
wow.
If I may, just looking at it from the WWE standpoint, you got Vince McMahon, who's been the figurehead, the top for like what, 40 years.
Since 1982.
Since 1982, yeah, 40 years. Stepping down, which a lot of people thought that, you know, he would probably die in that position. And to walk away from that and knowing his position on WWE, you couldn't even see him walking away like that. And so this really must be a big thing for him to step down like that. I don't know. I don't know the details of the whole case, but it's for him to step down like that. I don't know. It's got to be big.
I have a question, T-Bone. I'm gonna throw this back at you because you're the wrestling expert. Should Shane McMahon feel like some garbage right now? I mean, it's like, I'm your son. I'm the prodigal son, and you give your job to Triple H. Why am I not the man right now? Why am I not running the WWE?
Well, the first thing though is that Stephanie is actually co-CEO with Nick Khan. So Stephanie is the oldest daughter, is the oldest child anyway. So there's that. Shane has not always been involved and has kind of gone back and forth, and some of his decisions have been kind of questionable on his level. So, you know, it would make perfect sense why he's not really there. That's why he's not really around. Now, I think back at the Royal Rumble, he was sent home after making some questionable decisions. So, you know, he's just not the guy. It may have seemed like a good fit because he's the guy and but you know, that doesn't mean anything. Stephanie, as far as business wise, she's done everything she's supposed to do.
He was an idiot. Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead, T-Bone.
I was going to see who was next. I was going to see if Coach Frazier had anything real quick, and then we'll go to you, BT.
Okay. In my humble opinion, it's going to all just get swept up under the rug, and he's going to walk away in the sunset. It'll just all disappear. Because if it had been anybody else, they'll still be crucifying him right now. So as you said, the stock market improved. It probably would have been dated by anybody else.
Kind of like one Deshaun Watson, huh?
There you go.
Oh,
yes.
We don't say why, but we get it. We get
Yeah,
it.
we get it. Yeah,
It's kind of how that who's the Patriots owner and his little
Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft, yeah, his little
He had massages too.
his little massage rub and tug thing went right under the radar, like it's gone now, like he never
massage.
And even if you look at Vince McMahon's one of his close friends, our former president Donald Trump. I mean, a lot of stuff
you're right.
It happens, and it's so common with men in power when they get to a certain status and a certain level to where these things kind of disappear. But I think that the transition from Stephanie. Well, from Vince to Stephanie in this climate of, Me Too movement and, sexual harassment in the marketplace the face of wrestling now is Stephanie, even though, by proxy, you got Triple H. But at the same time, I think it makes so much sense. If it hadn't been any other time Stephanie was to take over, this is the perfect time for her to take over as, the face of the company. But I can really see later on down the line of them setting it up. And what I would like to see is possibly, and T-Bone, I don't know your take on this, but is this opening up the door for The Rock to possibly purchase WWE based on, his family history and, his family is a wrestling family. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think that The Rock would be able to, not be able to. I'm sure if he wanted to get some investors, he could probably do it. But I mean, just because we like The Rock doesn't necessarily mean that infrastructure and all that stuff is the type of thing that he wants to handle, right? Like, it seems good. It seems like a good idea because we were fans of him, but the kind of like what we were talking about with the athletes, like the basketball players. There's a lot of stuff you got to do in front of the camera, and there's a lot of stuff you got to do behind the camera. And to run that wrestling company the way it needs to be run, you got to be able to basically almost like how Vince did it. You got to be able to put, the morning, afternoon, night, the middle of the night, early AM. You got to be able to put your focus on that. Rock has like tons and tons of focuses on across many platforms. Hopefully the returning XFL will be successful.
Right. Now, the only reason why I say that is because his guy is the co-CEO Nick Khan. So, so that right there may be something in the play. So that's why I threw that out. As far as like him being the face, you might not have to show up to everything, but all of the big events, all right, come out, show your face. Because I'm pretty sure he's doing the exact same thing for the XFL. He's probably not in there day to day, but any type of press release or any type of press that they have to do, he's going to be the face of that company.
Well, T-Bone, real quick, I want to know why Triple H and not Stephanie then?
Well, Triple H, his job is just the head of creative and talent relations. So, I mean, that's not necessarily the top. Stephanie has the CEO position, running the business side of wrestling things along with Nick Khan. So you want Stephanie to be out there because that way the name is continuing to be out there. Nick Khan obviously has the business connections and the agent's pass to do what he's doing. But Triple H, I mean, from a wrestling standpoint, there's when you look at what he did with NXT, with how comfortable a lot of the people were, and if you're going to be head of talent relations, the talent being comfortable with you is key. You got to have somebody that the talent can trust, which is why JR had a pretty good reputation when he was head of talent relations. And as far as creative, you need to have somebody who's going to look at, what's going on now, what's going on 3 weeks from now, what's going on 3 months from now. So, you want to be able to, you want to have a guy who's experienced in that. And you always want to have a wrestling guy who's, locked in to wrestling when doing that. So, Triple H is probably the perfect person because not only has he been a wrestler, not only has he been around it for almost 30 years or so, but he ran NXT and showed his vision of storytelling. And I will say this, I know we're wrapping this segment up here, but when it comes to wrestling, what's happening in this newer era is that you have fans who want the new. They want some type of change. That's a constant thing that's happening right now because a lot wrestling is kind of kind of went into like a hyperspeed session where everybody wants everybody wants next. So like, AEW came out. Well, let me go back. When NXT was, rising up, everybody talked about NXT and they were like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And then as soon as AEW came out, everybody said, oh, look, AEW, this is going to be the new, this is going to be the next, it's better. And then everybody really started hating WWE as far as like, oh, I don't want to watch that. That's the corporate stuff. I want to watch this stuff over here. So the problem that AEW is going to have is that, like I said, fans want new, they want next. And with Vince stepping down, and you got Triple H and Stephanie and Nick Khan, basically the three-head people there, everybody wants to see, well, what's Triple H going to do? How are things going to be different? Can people say ambulance and hospital and titles and belts now as opposed to how it used to be? So, I think the WWE is actually going to benefit with Vince being gone because there's obvious change and people want to see what that change is. And so that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. All right, well, I know you and Sadal have to leave, have to jump off the show. Before y'all go, let's change subjects real quick and stay in the wrestling for a little bit. Real quick, your take on Ric Flair coming back for his last match at 73 years old. His final match. Flair's coming back. What's your take on that, T-Bone?
Well, it wasn't something that I asked for. It's probably not something I'm going to see live. But you know what? If he can make it through it, if people have determined that he's healthy, as far as doing the show out in Nashville at the Municipal Auditorium where he had his match with Ricky Steamboat in 1989, for the people who want to see it, like here's the thing, it's gonna make money. Yeah. You can equate this to being like Mike Tyson when he did that boxing match back in 2020. Like people want to see it. It's not going to look exactly the same as it did, but people always want to see what they think is the last thing. It's almost like that collector's item type thing. So it's probably going to do a pretty good pay-per-view number. I'd actually be interested to see how it does in comparison to AEW pay-per-view numbers. That'd be interesting for me. But Ric Flair is Ric Flair, name brand. People know him. People are going to want to have the curiosity factor to see what's going to happen. The rest of the card, besides his match, looks like something that a lot of the newer fans would like anyway. So it's also a way for him to rehab his image after what happened last year with the Dark Side of the Ring episode. Anyway,
right. And that's crazy, T-Bone, before you head out, but that's crazy that the WWE let Ric Flair kind of go after his scandal came out, and then you have a situation where Vince had to actually retire when his scandal came out. So that's just crazy.
Well, and they've been doing that. You look at Hulk Hogan, he went away for a while, they brought him back. They will drop people, when stuff happens, at least for a while, to get the heat off of the situation, and then bring it right on back. But hey, while I'm here real quick, I know some of y'all see this in the background. HBCW is coming to Orlando, the Orange County Convention Center, August 20th and 21st, part of the 2022 Florida Kids and Family Expo. We will be having a great time over those 2 days. You'll be seeing a lot of wrestling action. We have names like Casey Lennox. We have Cassandra Golden, Sahara 7. We have Blake Banks and Jake St. Patrick. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be coming out. And don't worry, for all of y'all watching, this will be available on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now to the Platform Sports Talk Show. This is the Man Cave. We'll go ahead and turn it back over to Craig. Hey, I'm going to have to step out. Sadal, you guys step out?
Yes, sir.
So, Sadal, right. Before you go, T-Bone, we appreciate you doing what you do, coming through, giving your insight on the wrestling and all the other topics as well. But Sadal, before you get up out of here, any last words?
Yes. Everybody stay prayed up. Pray for the folks who were victims of that flood yesterday, and go Rams.
There you have it. St. Louis family, still Rams fans. I ain't mad at that. But aren't they supposed to be Cardinals fans? Arizona Cardinals fans? I thought that's what you're supposed to be anyway. That's, hey, but they didn't win any championships, right? That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. It's the Man Cave coming to you live on the Platform Sports Talk Show. It's me, Craig Black, in for my man Stanton, and I still got my special guest, Corey Frazier, and I got Coach BT here. We're going to switch subjects and talk about Brittany Griner. So on Tuesday, Brittany actually testified, and you know, Russia just railroaded Brittany. One thing I'm going to say, she did say in some of her paperwork and her statements um, during this testimony that she didn't know that she had the cannabis oil, and I'm gonna say straight up, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. But I do believe giving somebody up to 10 years for some cannabis oil with a vape pen, we know this has more to do with the relationship between Russia and America right now. All right, so it's kind of crazy. And what's even crazy, before I say the breaking news, something breaking came out with the Brittany Griner story. But I'll go to you, Coach Frazier. Let me know what you think about Brittany and her ordeal right now.
Man, I honestly think that it's whether she knew it or not, I would give her the benefit of the doubt, say she just forgot she had it. You know what I'm saying? And or, she had it loaded. But like you said, I think it has more to do with the relationship with Russia and our country than anything. But that's it's taken way too long for them to make a move to get this done. That's the problem I have with it. Like that, if it had been, any one of our professional athletes in the NBA, NFL, with a statue, guarantee you they had already been home.
We do have some breaking news with Brittany, but before I say that breaking news, I'm gonna go to Coach BT. What's your thoughts on the ordeal she's going through before I pull out the breaking news to everybody?
No, I just think the whole situation is, it's unfortunate that that you get caught in another country with something like that, and even if it's, first of all, I'm not in a position to say what you shouldn't have had, because you're an adult, you make that decision. But just knowing, once you go over there to that country, you at the mercy of whatever that country decides on what your punishment is. You kind of have to kind of roll with that. But again, she's just being a political pawn in this whole situation, and that's the unfortunate part about it. So,
all right. So the breaking news is that the United States has offered us a prisoner swap with Russia, and they're trying right now to actually get Brittany home. So they've made the announcement that actually they're going to, do a prisoner swap. My whole thing is that it is about status and who she is, to the point where Russia has other American detainees over there right now, and there's no prisoner swap for none of those people right now. I believe it's like 10 to 15 people that Russia has, U.S. citizens, that are locked up in Russia right now, and they're not getting none of the Brittany Griner publicity or treatment right now. So it's like it's all about it's about status, and especially United States of America. I think the people, the public, and the NBA and the WNBA have put a lot of pressure on the Biden administration to make this deal go through. So what are your outtakes with that?
I'm not for, and I'm just gonna be totally honest, I'm not for a prisoner swap when you let an athlete out for like arms dealers or other like terrorists. Like, we can't set a precedent of doing stuff like that, because who's to say that if someone else goes abroad and gets in the situation, are we going to be trying our hardest to get in contact with folks in administration, trying to get them out? It's like, you made a bad decision, you made a bad choice. Now it's unfortunate that they throwing 10 years at you, but at the same token, it's like, you should know those laws or know those situations before you even go into that. That's the same conversation that we will have with some of our youth or some of our players. Is like, once you make that decision of carrying that weed, carrying that gun, jumping in that car with those guys, doing anything, know right off the bat what you facing or what you're about to get into, because we can't come back and say, oh, I didn't know, and can you show some mercy? It's like, it don't work like that. So that's my take on it. But I feel like, again, is she's a pawn, and that's the unfortunate part. And when you get caught up in a situation like this, now she's put on display to be a just right around election time to just be thrown out there and praised around, because both sides are going to be looking at this. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's a straight up prisoner swap. That's just what they're doing. The Washington Post reported it earlier today via their IG page, and it's
What
How is that
prisoner?
an equal swap though? Like
Yeah,
it's not.
what prisoner? What type of prisoner was it
um,
that we're letting out?
it says the United States has made a substantial proposal to Russia to secure the release of Brittany Griner. It doesn't go into detail about what the prisoner's name is that they're swapping Brittany for, though.
Yeah, because I heard arms dealers and I heard other terrorists that they're letting out, but like I said, that's not equal on
At
any
all.
playing field.
Yeah, it's not. But Russia made a power move. I mean, come on now, they figured out who she was, and they put they put you up against the wall. What you gonna do? What you want?
Or did they ask for certain people in that
Yeah,
swap?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did, and so
Yeah, and again, I don't like. I think she came out when she came out and she threw, I think, LeBron. She threw certain people names out there, which I think that was kind of a underhand kind of a situation, a desperate move to where it's like, okay, don't put other people in that situation as saying, all right, if this was LeBron or someone, because LeBron probably wouldn't have made that decision to do something like that. And I think it also speaks to the level of, and this is something that the WNBA may have to, the NBA and the WNBA is the the disparity in the wages that the men get and the women get, to the fact that she had to go over to Russia to try to
yes,
get a bag.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
see the people with the free grinder shirts and all of this, and if they really wanted to make a real statement, then they would have shut the season down. They would have just basically told all of the WNBA, franchise, no, we're not playing this year until she gets on. Now that's a power move, but I think that that they weren't going to do that. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where don't try to throw dirt on LeBron and those guys. I think the NBA and the WNBA need to reevaluate that whole system with the men and the women and how much they get paid, so they don't have to go to those foreign countries to make a living. So
but how do they even that playing field though when the audience is not the same? That's the issue. It's the
but I
audience
mean, you
right
have
now.
you have a G League. Why come? And but again, it goes back to when they talk about I guess like collective bargaining, or even to not collective bargaining, but profit sharing. I think
Mhm.
every NBA team need to have a wing of WNBA players or WNBA franchise up under their wing, just like we have in schools. You have a high school team, you got a
Mhm,
girls team, a boys team. So you're
mhm,
able to do both. Both can be
mhm.
right at the same time. And why don't we put the women's games on before the men's games? I think for the price that the tickets that a lot of these NBA tickets cost, why not have a pregame? A pregame with whether if it's a G League team or a WNBA team. Then we get to the marquee event or the marquee game with the NBA team. So it's ways around it. So that's my opinion. I don't know, Coach. What you think about that? What's your
I was just sitting here thinking about even the seasons of when like the WNBA is playing right now, and you still got the NBA Summer League going on, and it kind of trumps what's happening with the WNBA. And there's some talented players in the WNBA, but Craig, you asked about how do you even the playing field. Um, BT, that's the best way to do is force all the franchises to bring a team underneath their umbrella. You know what I'm saying? You already got G League going on, what have you. So why not invest into it as well? Because you can't say you don't have the money or the revenue. Now, in terms of
exactly?
the TV, the women's NCAA tournament was huge this year. I mean, they made a huge buzz. You see what's happening with what is not the same teams win it, but you got some of the programs, your UConns and all them. Yeah, they're in it, but now you got South Carolina storming up the charts and stuff. So there's a shift, and there's a big audience for women's basketball, and that's the younger generation. I mean, the younger kids are in love with youth basketball. I mean, with women's basketball. So there's just got to be a way you got to present that games, unless the games have to come on a little bit earlier, like you said, before the actual men's game. Then so be it.
I
But I
like
think
that. I like that point BT made, Coach Frazier, about each NBA franchise owning a WNBA franchise, and that start right there will try to even it out. If you have those owners dealing directly with the women's game, that could help it out a lot money wise, because they would invest more, they would interact more with the women's game. I don't know the whole structure of the WNBA. I don't know how it's broken down between the NBA and the WNBA. I don't know that structure. I'm not informed on that, but just to get them paid, the fanfare has to increase. You can say you want to increase their wages. They got some great players in the WNBA, but it's like my son probably can't name 2 of them because he doesn't watch it. You know what I'm saying? I find myself watching the WNBA. Don't get me wrong. I'm want to support it 100%, but it's like, to get that NBA turnout, it has something drastically has to change, and it has to it has to start with the NBA first to help out the WNBA. I mean, if they're going to be the big brother, which I thought they were supposed to be in all this, but I don't know. It's just
I look at the fact that everything, the production value has to get better when it comes to those WNBA games, because it's funny that you said you was able to find the game. I had to find a link, find a Facebook post, find another Facebook post, and just to be able to find a game, and I think when you invest in the production of the WNBA, it's like even playing in those big arenas, and I take it back to when we watch wrestling events. The WWE has done a tremendous job in putting on the production aspect of an actual TV show. The NBA and the WNBA is presented as a game, but it's really a show. It's a TV show. They need to be able to squish in the audience so you can kind of feel that up close feel to when I'm watching it. When I'm watching the actual game, the WNBA game, I'm seeing the excitement and not having people spread out all over an arena to where you don't even know how many people are there. That's part of the problem too. So it's so many different things that I feel like the product value should be a whole lot better to get more eyeballs on the game. But to Coach's point, man, it's tons of kids that growing up now. They eating up the WNBA just like they eat up the NBA, especially with the young girls. They want to see it, but it's hard to even watch, even when you actually sit down to try to find a game. So
they don't market it. They don't market it at all. They don't. They do a horrible job of marketing.
Alice Williams had a comment. She said she remembered that the first WNBA team started out underneath the NBA's branch to give them support in the early years. So I don't know.
When they like wearing like different outfits back then, I don't know if y'all remember when it first started. They tried lowering the rims. It was
and that's what I would want to see. Lower the rims, get some of the excitement. Try to get. Brittany Griner, she was slamming the ball and dunking, but it's not. And you get so many woke people that would say, well, why do we have to lower the rims for the girl? No, we just trying to make the game look better to where it's
entertaining
to watch it, and I'm not for the men wearing these little hoochie daddy shorts. They need to make them shorts a little smaller, and they got what's the football league? Hey, I hate to be like that, but make jerseys a little.
You know what? This the man cave, man. You're right. You're right. Come on now.
That's what I could be wrong.
It is what it is.
I could be wrong, but I just remember there was a league that they had spandex on back. When they were starting to put women's basketball on TV. Somebody probably who's watching this probably remember that, but I remember I was like, man, they were playing in like spandex outfits, and they were trying to entice people to watch women's basketball. You know what I'm saying? So that had to be years ago. I just don't remember.
Yeah, no, I'm for that. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our super producer Smoooth says, yep, it's like the volleyball players do. Yeah. That's that tight spandex. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think it would come to a lot of rejection too, because we're exploiting, we'll be sexist, you know what I'm saying? But
well, Craig, so let's say that. But I'm looking at a lot, like I follow a lot of them because I train some of the WNBA players, right? And some of the stuff that they have to do extra to make money is swimsuits and they do a lot of different things outside of their actual gameplay.
Yes.
So, for them to make money out of that way, they almost have to do it. And I hate to say it, and I don't agree with it, but they're doing it.
I'm gonna say somebody that does it and does it well, and she looks good doing it. Big sexy Liz Cambridge. She does it well.
Right.
She does it well. She's like what, 6'9", 6'10",
and she just left the Sparks. She just quit the Sparks team the other day.
She did.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
Yesterday, I think she just quit. Something happened. So.
Oh wow, I didn't know that happened.
But yeah, that's one of the things that and that's a great point, because it's going back to what we just saying. They play, then they have to swimsuit, do some type of OnlyFans or any type of thing to get their name out there to keep their buzz. Well, what's my one girl that was dating Dwight Howard? I mean, she was all over every social media that you can think of, trying to put Cooper trying to put her name and her face out there, and it was just one of those things. Never saw the girl play, but I knew who she was just based off of everything else she had going on. So it's like, if she's able to do it, why should we as men or the woke police?
And she's no longer in the league now. So I think she got waived this year right after the draft. It was so many good players got cut from the draft just because they can't keep them all. The money, So I mean, we got a young lady in St. Louis right now, Suge Sutton, who's talented, who needs to be there, who should be playing in the WNBA. But I just don't think the league, they don't have enough teams. They need more teams. You know what I'm saying? That means the NBA they have to adopt these teams. So
yeah, we want to do it for the ladies, for real. I want to see the game evolve and come just as big as the NBA and take it to the next level. And some things might have to change. They might have to grab that Ice Cube mentality of marketing and make it happen. Switch up the game a little bit to make it more exciting. Just to get people to tune in, or just promote it more. How about that? Yeah. Let's run some ads across all television. That when they on ESPN tonight, I get 2 or 3 commercials. No.
Or this thing right here. This is where
social media. There you go. Yeah, this man.
You say ads, not ads, huh?
I need some ads. You're right. All right, it's the Man Cave coming to you live on the platform Sports Talk Show. Still hanging out. Our special guest Corey Frazier, got Coach BT up in here. We're gonna switch gears again. We got like a good 12 minutes left in the show. We're gonna talk some NFL football real quick. We're gonna go to the divisions since I ain't gonna go there, but I'm gonna say it. Okay, my team starts. I know the exact time our first preseason game is. That's August 13th. And I'll be in St. Louis on that day watching. But that's the Washington Commanders I'm talking about. But nevertheless, we're going to go by division, and we're going to start up in that AFC North. You see the graphic on the screen. We have the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since I'm gonna go to Coach BT first. Who you see come winning that division, the AFC North?
Man, check this out, right? So I haven't watched football in maybe like 7 years, 6 years. So
pick one.
2007 picks right here. So you know what? Let's go with the Steelers, man. Steelers always.
That's a good pick, though. That's not a bad pick.
Steelers always solid. AFC East, man. I'm gonna go with them guys.
Hold on, we're gonna stay in the North. We're gonna stay in the North right now. We're gonna stay in the North. We're gonna go to Coach Frazier. Go ahead.
I gotta go with B Moore, man. I'm rocking with the young quarterback. I think it's his time, man. So and BT, I just started back watching it. I was boycotting. I forgot the boycott football was over. So I finally jumped back in.
I appreciate y'all fellas doing it for Cap, man. I took a knee every time that national anthem came on, but I was watching. I ain't gonna lie. All right, my pick is I'm going with the Bengals, man. I think the Bengals are the truth. I think that the quarterback says it all, man. The Bengals gonna come back and get out of that division. I think the Browns are gonna be trash this year. All right, because what's his name is not playing this at all. I don't think he'll play at all this year. Who's the quarterback? His name just went out of my head. Got caught up in the sex scandals. Help me out, super producer. I don't know why I cannot get his name in my head right now. The Browns, Deshaun Watson. I don't know why I couldn't get it in my Deshaun Watson. That's who it is. Okay.
Who did they have before him? Who was before him?
Baker Mayfield. Yep. Baker Mayfield. But the Browns, they're dead in the water, man. Baker is actually with Carolina now. But let's go to the AFC East real quick. We got the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins. Looking good right now on paper. New England Patriots and the New York Jets. AFC East. So, Coach BT, go right ahead.
Oh man, I'm going with them guys from upstate New York. I'm gonna go with Buffalo, man. Buffalo Bills.
That's a damn good pick right there. That is. Coach Frazier.
Miami. I'm gonna look at Miami this year.
Miami made some serious moves. They're due for something. They did. They fired their coach, which was dumb as hell, but they did make some good moves. Right. But I'm going with Coach BT. I think the Buffalo Bills are really going to win that division. I ain't gonna say it. I got the Bills winning the whole AFC. I got them going to the Super Bowl. That's mine for the AFC. But anyway, let's go to the AFC South real quick. We got the Texans, we got the Colts, we got the Titans, and Jacksonville. So, Coach BT, who you got?
I'm gonna roll with the Titans.
Oh, the Titans. Okay, all right. That's enough. You say you ain't watched, but you got some good picks, man. You got some real.
I'm with the colors, man. That's what it is. I like that Titans
guy. Coach Frazier, who you got? Man?
I think I'm gonna go with the Titans too. Just when the Rams left, St. Louis, man, I'm still heartbroken over that. But I think I adopted two teams. Titans is one of them.
Gotcha. All right, I'm with y'all. I'm staying with them Titans. Yep, I'm going with them Titans. All right, let's go to AFC West. We got the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Chargers. Who you got, Coach BT?
I'm gonna keep it in Missouri, man. I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs. That's what I'm gonna roll with right there, man.
With the loss of Tyreek Hill, is Patrick Mahomes gonna be the same Patrick Mahomes? He ain't got that super threat. Okay, he still got Kelsey. But that's still a good pick. Coach Frazier.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs as well, just because when Tyreek left, man, he made it like my man can't throw the ball no more. So he's got to show that he's accurate. So I think he got something to prove this time.
Yeah. Well, I'm going with the Broncos. Okay. I think Patrick Mahomes is still going to be a beast out there. Don't get me wrong. I think it's not going to affect his game, his individual game. He's going to put up some numbers, put up the stats. But I think Russell Wilson is going to do his thing with the Broncos. I really do think he's going to actually show up and show out. So I got the Broncos winning the AFC West. Okay. Let's take it over to the NFC North. We got the Bears, the Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings. Coach BT, who you picking?
Man, so Aaron Rodgers, he's still with Green Bay, right?
Yes, he is, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm gonna roll with Aaron Rodgers, man.
Aaron Rodgers. Okay. All right, Coach Frazier.
Man, this division here, man.
For some reason, I figured my St. Louis folks would be on Chicago since it's so close. I figured y'all would be there, but
yeah, I might have to side with you on this Green Bay, man. I'm gonna roll with what's his name? Double discount. What's his name?
Yeah, that dude Aaron Rodgers. He's a bad
Aaron Rodgers, man.
He's a bad man. But you know what? I can't go against Aaron Rodgers either, not in this division. Not a big Chicago fan, so I'm going with y'all. We're going with Green Bay, because I would not pick the Lions to win anything. They can't beat Alabama. How about that? All right. We're going to skip over the NFC East because that's my team in it. So we're going to go to NFC South. We got the Falcons, the Panthers, New Orleans Saints, and Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who you got in this division, NFC South?
Man, Coach BT. I'm going with Brady, man, the GOAT, man. So until I see that he can't, and I know he played it close last year, almost, man, went out bad, but I'm gonna go with Tom Brady on this one, man.
Gotcha. All right, Coach Frazier.
Man, I'm new to Atlanta, but I tried to watch him last year and it was not. So I got to roll with Brady, man. Falcons, I can't do the Falcons.
I really don't want to do it, and because I'm not a Brady fan, but I'm with y'all. I got to roll with Tampa Bay in this division. I do. They just picked up Julio Jones. I think he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to try to show out. So and Gronk is on call. He said he ain't coming back, but if Tom make that call, Gronk is gonna suit up and he'll pop on that field sometime this season. So I'm running with Tampa Bay because the rest of the division, okay. All right, let's go to the NFC West. We got the Cardinals, the LA Rams, San Fran, and the Seahawks. So, Coach BT, who you got?
Man, now, so when I did watch football, man, my favorite team of all time, man, was the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm gonna roll with those guys, man. Whoa. So, man, I'm taking it back, man. Roger Craig, man, John Taylor, Jerry Rice, man. I'm taking it back to them days.
Yeah.
Tecmo Bowl days.
Man, you said Tecmo Bowl. Okay.
Okay. Wow. They got a new quarterback, Trey Lance. But go right ahead, Coach Frazier. Who you got?
I think LA lost some key pieces, so I think San Fran is going to be their time now. I think San Fran.
Man, me and Coach Frazier clicking, man. See, look
at that. I'm going back to old St. Louis. I'm going with the Cardinals. I think. I think Mr. Murray going to show out this year. I really do. I think he's going to do his thing. So I'm going with them Cardinals. All right, we're going to take it last but not least in the NFC East, because they got my squad in there. We got to talk about them Cowgirls. The New York Giants, Philadelphia, and the Washington. What is that symbol up there? That's not right. The Washington Commanders. What team is that? The Washington Commanders. Who you got, Coach BT?
Man, I think I'm a roll with it. Just, man, something about the Dallas fan, man. They just so delusional, man. And I hate arguing with them guys, man. It's just like.
Nobody likes a Dallas fan. Nobody.
I'm cool with Dallas as far as like, okay, they're cool, but just they so delusional, man. So I'm gonna go with the Giants, man. I'm gonna roll with the Giants just on the strength. I don't know what they got or who, who's coming back, but I want to see the Giants get some of that.
Okay, all right. So, Coach Frazier, who you got?
I'm always for the hometown kids, man. So Zeke with the Cowboys, I got to rock with him this year.
Oh, yeah, Zeke is. Oh,
I got to roll with the hometown, man.
I ain't gonna even lie. My barber, shout out to my barber in St. Louis, my man Rod. He was been cutting Zeke hair since he was a little boy, and he was always telling me about Zeke when I used to come in town, how great he is. But I can't stand them Cowboys. Shout out to you, Zeke. We cool. But I gotta go with my Washington Commanders. I gotta go with my squad no matter what. We are terrible. Our ownership is terrible. Our organization is terrible. Everything about us is terrible. I'm so players only. That's what I'm rolling with, my Commanders, y'all. That's what it is. So right now, I think we're gonna put the wraps on this show for real. Coach Frazier, I appreciate you staying with us, coming through, being a guest on the show. Doing it for my man Staten and everybody else in the man cave, Coach BT. Coach Frazier, got any last words before we get up out of here?
Man, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Shout out to St. Louis, man. Hope everybody comes out of the situation with the weather. It was unfortunate to see, but man, I'm praying for the city, man. Hopefully we can, get that thing right. So appreciate you guys having me on. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you coming through. So Coach BT, what you got for us, man?
Oh man, just Coach BT, man, on all platforms, man. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, all of that good stuff, man. And so yeah, that's the only thing I got kind of popping right now. So yeah, Coach Turner on all platforms. Coach Brian Turner.
You can catch us every last Wednesday of the month right here on the Platform Sports Talk Show, The Man Cave. We're right here every last Wednesday of the month on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Also, don't forget about Ladies Night. Next Wednesday, they got a major announcement. Their first in-person show. It's every last Wednesday of the month, but they got a major announcement coming up next week. Also, shout out to the Platform Sports Talk Show, the lead show on the Platform Sports Talk Show network. And before I go, I gotta shout out all my peoples in St. Louis and making sure the whole family is straight. My man Willpower, DJ Willpower. I gotta shout out my man Lewis Laney, Monique Williams, Andrea, Sharonda, everybody, all my directors at my program, Community Cuts for Kids. It's coming back August 13th and 14th in St. Louis. We'll be in Spanish Lake with the DeJuan Dillon Colon Cancer Foundation on the 13th. We'll also be in Belleville, Illinois on the 13th with the Kappas. And on August 14th, we'll be at the O'Fallon Park Recreation Complex on the 14th. We got 3 locations in 2 days. Community Cuts for Kids. This is the 21st annual Community Cuts for Kids. And if you know any barbers or stylists that want to volunteer their time, please go to the website, thecraigshillsfoundation.org. It's right up there behind me, y'all. You see it right there. We need your support. So make sure you check us out. We'll be back August. I don't know what the last Wednesday. I don't know the date, but we'll be back the last Wednesday in August. Stan will be back as your host. Shout out to the super producer, my man Smoooth, Fred, and Alice Williams. We appreciate you. Thanks for chiming in with us, and thanks for checking us out. Once again, this is the Man Cave on the Platform Sports Talk Show. Thanks for checking us out. We out of here. Peace.